Have you ever felt like there was something dark lingering around your home, but you couldn't quite put your finger on what it was? Maybe you've noticed constant arguments breaking out for no reason, sudden waves of discouragement hitting your family, or unexplained illnesses that doctors can't seem to diagnose. Perhaps you've been facing one financial roadblock after another, leaving you wondering if there's more at play than just bad luck. Today, I want to share something with you that could change everything. Padre Pio, the beloved saint with the stigmata, once said something that sent chills down the spine of anyone who heard it. The enemy cannot stand the medal of Saint Benedict. He calls it the little shield against hell, because he knows from his own experience how much Satan fears Saint Benedict. Think about that for a moment. A saint who battled the devil face to face, who bore the wounds of Christ on his own body, telling us that there's a specific protection so powerful that evil itself flees from it. Padre Pio wasn't speaking in metaphors or abstract spiritual language. He was sharing a concrete, practical truth that he had witnessed firsthand. But here's what most people don't know, and what I'm about to reveal to you today. There are 3 specific places where you need to position this sacred medal before July 11th, the feast day of Saint Benedict, to activate maximum protection in your life and home. This isn't just about wearing a piece of jewelry or keeping a religious item around. This is about creating a spiritual fortress that the forces of darkness cannot penetrate. You see, many people are under spiritual attack without even realizing it. They think their problems are just coincidences, just bad timing, just stress. But Padre Pio understood something crucial. Evil works subtly, quietly, gradually wearing down our peace, our health, our relationships, and our prosperity. That's exactly why God gave us Saint Benedict as a powerful spiritual shield against all these forces. If you believe in the wisdom and protection that Padre Pio spoke about, I want you to write in the comments, Saint Benedict, deliver us from evil. Your faith, combined with this ancient protection, can create a barrier that transforms your entire spiritual atmosphere. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you about these 3 sacred locations could be the breakthrough you've been praying for. To understand why Padre Pio held such reverence for Saint Benedict's medal, we need to go back to the story that shook the foundations of hell itself. Saint Benedict of Nursia wasn't just any monk. He was a spiritual warrior who faced demonic attacks that would terrify most people into complete surrender. The historical accounts tell us that when Benedict first began his monastic life, the devil tried everything to break him. Demons would appear to him in terrifying forms, trying to drive him to madness. They would shake his cell violently, throw objects around, and fill the air with such horrific screams that other monks fled in terror. But Benedict never yielded. Instead, he developed a spiritual arsenal so powerful that Satan himself learned to fear the very mention of his name. Padre Pio, who experienced his own supernatural battles, once confided to his spiritual children, Saint Benedict discovered something that makes hell tremble. The medal bearing his image and his prayer isn't just a symbol, it's a weapon. When I hold it during my most difficult spiritual battles, I can literally feel the enemy retreat. But what makes this medal so uniquely powerful? Look closely at any authentic Saint Benedict medal, and you'll see it's covered with Latin abbreviations that most people never take the time to understand. On the back, you'll find the letters C, S, P, B, Crux Sancti Patris Benedicti, meaning the cross of the Holy Father Benedict. Around the margin are the letters C, S, S, M, L, and N, D, S, M. A D, these form the powerful exorcism prayer. Crux sacra sit mihi lux, non draco sit mihi dux. May the Holy Cross be my light, may the dragon never be my guide. The most striking inscription reads, V-R-R-I-E, S-N-S-M. Ibridis and Ades MSTQ, Chitan I-V-B, which translates to Vide retro satana, nunquam suade mihi vana, sunt mala quae libas, ipse venena bibas. Begone, Satan, never tempt me with your vanities. What you offer me is evil. Drink the poison yourself. This isn't just religious poetry. These are words of spiritual warfare that have been tested in the fires of real demonic encounters. Padre Pio understood that when we carry or place this medal with genuine faith, we're not just holding a piece of metal, we're wielding a sacramental that has been blessed with the full authority of the Church's exorcism rites. Here's what many people miss. There's a crucial difference between treating the St. Benedict medal as a lucky charm and understanding it as a sacramental. Padre Pio was very clear about this distinction. He would tell people, don't treat it like some magic amulet that works automatically. Approach it with reverence, with prayer, with genuine faith in God's protection. The medal is powerful, but your faith activates that power. This is why the timing matters so much. When you place these medals in their proper locations before July 11th, you're not just following a ritual. You're participating in a spiritual tradition that has protected countless families for over 15 centuries. Speaking of spiritual protection, Padre Pio always emphasized that our defense against evil should never rely on just one sacramental alone. He taught that the St. Benedict medal works most powerfully when combined with consistent prayer, especially the Rosary, which he called the weapon that terrifies demons. If you want to create an even stronger spiritual fortress around your life and family, I've prepared something special for you. It's an ebook called The Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio, Miracles, Protection, and Divine Graces. This spiritual treasure will help you learn how to pray the Rosary with deeper devotion, discover the miracles and testimonies of those who have experienced its power, and receive a 30-day prayer guide with daily intentions to strengthen your faith. Just as the St. Benedict medal shields you from evil, the Rosary becomes your sword of light in spiritual warfare. Padre Pio said these two together form an unbreakable defense. Click the link pinned in the comments to download this powerful resource and complete your spiritual armor. Now let me reveal the first and most crucial location where Padre Pio insisted the St. Benedict medal must be placed, your front door or main entrance. This isn't just about hanging a religious decoration. This is about creating a spiritual checkpoint that evil forces cannot cross. Padre Pio understood something that most people overlook. Every entrance to your home is a spiritual gateway. Just as you wouldn't leave your front door wide open for burglars to walk in, you shouldn't leave your spiritual doorway unprotected either. He often told his spiritual children, the threshold of your home is sacred ground. It's where you decide what energies, what influences, what spirits are welcome in your family's sanctuary. Think about the profound symbolism here. Throughout Scripture, doorposts and entrances have always held special significance. Remember when God instructed the Israelites to mark their doorposts with lamb's blood during the Passover? The angel of death passed over every home that was properly marked. When you place the St. Benedict medal at your entrance, you're creating a similar spiritual marker that tells dark forces they have no authority here. But here's the specific way Padre Pio taught this should be done. The medal should be positioned either directly on the door frame, discreetly attached behind the door, or placed just inside the entrance where it won't be obvious to visitors, but will be spiritually active. The key is intention and reverence, not visibility. Some families choose to mount it inside a small frame with a prayer card. Others simply attach it with strong tape to the back of the door frame. What matters most is that it's positioned with faith and prayer. When you place it there, you're not just putting up a barrier against obvious evil, you're protecting your family from subtler forms of spiritual contamination. Envy that follows visitors into your home, Negative energy from people who don't wish you well, spiritual attacks that try to enter through human relationships, even demonic influences that might attempt to establish footholds in your living space. Let me share something that happened to Maria, a mother from Texas who followed this practice after learning about it from Padre Pio's teachings. For months, her family had been experiencing constant conflict. Her teenage children were fighting daily. Her husband was coming home irritable and stressed, and she found herself snapping at everyone for no reason. Doctors couldn't find anything wrong with anyone's health, but the household felt like a war zone. After placing a properly blessed Saint Benedict medal behind her front door frame and praying the exorcism prayer, something remarkable happened within just a few days. The arguments didn't just decrease, they virtually stopped. Her husband mentioned that he felt more peaceful the moment he walked through the door after work. Her children began spending more time together instead of isolating in their rooms. Maria described it as if someone had lifted a heavy, invisible blanket off their entire house. This isn't superstition or coincidence. This is the power of sacramental protection working exactly as the Church has taught for centuries. The medal creates what spiritual theologians call a spiritual atmosphere that repels negative influences and attracts God's protection. But remember, the medal must be properly blessed by a priest using the official exorcism blessing for Saint Benedict medals. This isn't just a regular blessing, it's a specific rite that activates the spiritual authority contained in those Latin prayers we discussed earlier. Without this proper blessing, you're just hanging up a piece of jewelry. When you position the medal at your entrance before July 11th, you're not just protecting your current family, you're creating a legacy of protection that can benefit generations. The spiritual barrier you establish becomes part of your home's spiritual foundation. The second location that Padre Pio considered absolutely essential for St. Benedict medal placement is your bedroom, specifically near or under your bed. This might surprise some people, but Padre Pio understood something crucial about spiritual warfare. The enemy's favorite time to attack is when we're most defenseless, during sleep. Think about it for a moment. When you're sleeping, your conscious mind isn't actively resisting negative influences. Your spiritual defenses are naturally lowered. This is why so many people experience their worst fears, their darkest thoughts, and their most disturbing spiritual experiences during the night hours. Padre Pio himself was frequently attacked by demons during his sleep, and he learned firsthand how important it was to fortify this vulnerable time. Padre Pio once told his spiritual director, "The devil knows that when we sleep, our souls are most open to suggestion. He plants seeds of fear, doubt, and despair in our dreams, hoping they'll take root when we wake." But a properly placed St. Benedict medal creates a spiritual barrier that he cannot cross, even in our most vulnerable state. This isn't just about protection from nightmares, though that's certainly part of it. Many people don't realize that chronic insomnia, restless sleep, waking up feeling drained despite getting enough rest, or experiencing unexplained anxiety upon waking can all be signs of spiritual interference during sleep hours. The bedroom medal serves as a spiritual sentry, standing guard while your conscious mind rests. The placement is important here. Padre Pio recommended positioning the medal either under the mattress at the head of the bed, attached discreetly to the bed frame, or placed in a bedside drawer or on a nightstand. Some people choose to tape it to the underside of their nightstand or dresser. The key is that it should be close to where you sleep, but it doesn't need to be visible or obvious to others. When you place the medal in your bedroom, you're not just protecting your sleep, you're sanctifying the place where you begin and end each day. This is where you're most intimate with your thoughts, where you process the events of your life, where you're alone with God in prayer before sleep and upon waking. That sacred space deserves powerful protection. Here's what many people notice after placing the St. Benedict medal in their bedroom. Their dreams become more peaceful, they fall asleep more easily, they wake up feeling more rested, and that inexplicable sense of dread or anxiety that some people feel in the dark hours simply disappears. Children especially benefit tremendously from this protection, as they're often more sensitive to spiritual influences and more prone to nighttime fears. Parents have shared beautiful testimonies about how their children's nightmares stopped. Their bedtime routines became peaceful, and their little ones began sleeping through the night after placing St. Benedict medals in their bedrooms. One mother told me her 5-year-old son, who had been afraid of monsters in the dark for months, suddenly announced one morning that the scary things went away because Jesus sent a strong helper. The child had no knowledge of the medal placement, but he sensed the spiritual change immediately. Padre Pio also taught that the bedroom medal works in connection with your daily prayers. When you pray before sleep, you're activating that protection for the hours ahead. When you thank God upon waking, you're acknowledging the safety you've been granted through the night. The medal becomes part of a complete spiritual rhythm that surrounds your rest with peace. Remember, this isn't about turning your bedroom into a shrine or making it obvious that you've placed religious items there. The power of the St. Benedict medal doesn't depend on visibility, it depends on faith and proper blessing. Many couples place the medal discreetly so that even family members might not notice it, but the spiritual protection remains fully active. The bedroom is also where many of life's most important conversations happen, where couples share their deepest concerns, where parents comfort frightened children, where people face their loneliest moments. Having Saint Benedict's protection in that space means that those vulnerable moments are shielded from any evil influence that might try to exploit human weakness or emotional pain. The third and perhaps most overlooked location where Padre Pio insisted on St. Benedict medal placement is your workplace or study area. This might seem less obvious than protecting your home's entrance or your bedroom, but Padre Pio understood something profound. Many of the devil's most effective attacks come through our work life, our finances, and our ability to provide for ourselves and our families. Think about how much of your life energy goes into your work. Whether you're in an office, working from home, studying for important exams, or running a business, this is where you invest your talents, where you build your future, where you strive to fulfill God's plan for your life. It's also where you're most likely to encounter envy, competition, unfair treatment, and people who might not wish you well. Padre Pio frequently counseled people who were experiencing unexplained difficulties in their careers. Sudden conflicts with co-workers who had previously been friendly, projects that kept falling through despite good planning, financial opportunities that mysteriously disappeared at the last moment, or a general sense that their work environment had become toxic for no apparent reason. He recognized these as classic signs of spiritual interference in someone's livelihood. The enemy attacks where it hurts most, Padre Pio would tell his spiritual children. If he can block your ability to earn an honest living, if he can create chaos in your workplace, if he can turn your colleagues against you through envy or misunderstanding, he can create stress and worry that pulls you away from prayer and trust in God. This is why the workplace medal is so crucial, but it requires more discretion than the home placements. Obviously, you can't just hang a religious medal in a shared office space or classroom where it might create problems with co-workers or employers. Padre Pio taught that the medal could be placed inside your desk drawer, taped to the underside of your workspace, kept in your briefcase or laptop bag, or even discreetly attached to the back of your computer monitor where only you would know it's there. For those who work from home, the placement is easier. You can position it near your computer, in your home office, or wherever you conduct most of your work activities. Students can keep it in their backpack, taped inside their locker, or placed discreetly in their study area at home. The key is that this medal specifically protects against what Padre Pio called attacks on your provision. These include not just obvious things like theft or sabotage, but subtle spiritual interference that can block opportunities, create misunderstandings with important clients or supervisors, or generate an atmosphere of negativity that makes it harder for you to perform at your best. I want to share a powerful example from Robert, a small business owner in California who was on the verge of bankruptcy despite having what should have been a profitable company. For 2 years running, every major deal fell through at the last minute. Key employees quit unexpectedly. Equipment broke down constantly. His accountant couldn't explain why the numbers never seemed to add up correctly, even though the business model was sound. Robert described those 2 years as the darkest period of his life. He was working 18-hour days, barely sleeping, constantly stressed about making payroll. His marriage was suffering because he was bringing the work anxiety home every night. He had started to doubt his own competence, wondering if he was just a failure as a businessman. The financial pressure was crushing, but even worse was the sense that no matter how hard he worked, invisible forces seemed to be working against him. After learning about Padre Pio's teaching on workplace protection, Robert had a saint. Benedict medal properly blessed and placed it discreetly behind his office desk. He prayed the exorcism prayer and asked Saint Benedict to intercede for his business and his family's provision. Within 3 weeks, the first major contract in 2 years came through. Within 2 months, he had hired reliable new staff who seemed genuinely committed to the company's success. Within 6 months, his business had not only stabilized, but was more profitable than it had ever been. But the transformation wasn't just financial. Robert told me that the oppressive atmosphere in his office completely lifted. Meetings that used to be filled with tension became productive and collaborative. Clients who had been difficult to work with suddenly became reasonable and pleasant. Even his equipment stopped breaking down mysteriously. Most importantly, he was able to leave work at the office again, returning home to be a present husband and father. Robert describes it as if someone had literally removed a curse from his workplace. The relief wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal and spiritual. This protection extends beyond just financial success. The workplace medal also shields you from office gossip, protects you from colleagues who might try to undermine your reputation, and creates a spiritual atmosphere that helps you maintain your integrity and Christian values even in difficult professional situations. Before I move on, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed patterns in your work life that just don't make logical sense? Projects that should succeed but somehow fall apart? Relationships with colleagues that inexplicably turn sour? Financial opportunities that slip away right when you're about to close them? If so, you might be experiencing exactly what Padre Pio warned about: spiritual interference in your livelihood. Remember, you're not asking Saint Benedict to make you rich or to give you unfair advantages over others. You're asking for protection against spiritual forces that would prevent you from using your God-given talents to their fullest potential. You're asking for the ability to work with dignity, to be treated fairly, and to provide for your family without interference from evil influences. The timing before July 11th is especially important for workplace protection because Saint Benedict's feast day is a powerful time to establish spiritual authority over the areas where you earn your living. Now that you know where to place the 3 medals, let me share the specific method that Padre Pio taught for activating this protection. This isn't just about positioning religious objects around your space. This is about engaging in authentic spiritual warfare through faith, prayer, and proper sacramental use. First, and most importantly, your saint. Benedict medals must be properly blessed by a Catholic priest using the official exorcism blessing. This isn't the same as a general blessing that priests give to everyday religious items. The saint Benedict medal has its own specific ritual that includes actual exorcism prayers. Without this proper blessing, you simply have a piece of jewelry with Latin words on it. With the proper blessing, you have a powerful sacramental that has been given spiritual authority through the Church. When you're ready to place each medal in its location, don't just stick it somewhere and walk away. Padre Pio taught that the placement should be done with reverence and prayer. Hold the medal in your hands, make the sign of the cross, and pray the powerful exorcism prayer that's inscribed on the medal itself. May the Holy Cross be my light. May the dragon never be my guide. Begone, Satan. Never tempt me with your vanities. What you offer me is evil. Drink the poison yourself. After reciting this prayer, add your own personal petition to Saint Benedict. Saint Benedict, intercede for me and my family. Drive away all evil influences and protect us with your mantle. Guard this space with your powerful prayers and let no harm come to those who dwell here. Amen. As you place each medal, be specific about what you're asking for. At your entrance, pray for protection against any evil that might try to enter your home. In your bedroom, ask for peaceful sleep and protection during vulnerable night hours. At your workplace, request protection for your livelihood and provision for your family. Here's something crucial that many people overlook. The medals don't work automatically like magic charms. Your ongoing faith and prayer life activate and maintain their protection. Padre Pio always emphasized that sacramentals work in harmony with a living relationship with God, not as substitutes for it. You should also be aware of signs that the protection is active. Many people report an immediate sense of peace in their home after placing the medals. Conflicts that had been brewing constantly begin to resolve. Sleep becomes more restful. Work situations that had been problematic start to improve. Family members comment that the house feels different, even if they don't know about the medals. Finally, treat the medals with respect. Don't move them around casually or treat them as decorations. Once placed, they should remain in position unless you're moving homes or offices. If a medal is lost or damaged, replace it with another properly blessed medal and repeat the placement prayers. Remember, you're participating in a spiritual tradition that spans centuries. Countless families have found protection and peace through this practice, just as Padre Pio taught. As we come to the end of our time together today, I want you to take a moment and imagine what your life could look like with this powerful protection in place. Picture walking into your home and feeling an immediate sense of peace and safety. Imagine sleeping through the night without fear, without those unexplained moments of anxiety that sometimes wake you in the dark hours. Envision going to work, knowing that your efforts are protected from spiritual interference, that your honest labor can flourish without invisible obstacles blocking your path. This is what Padre Pio wanted for every person who came to him seeking help. He didn't just offer prayers and spiritual counsel. He gave practical tools that ordinary people could use to create extraordinary protection in their daily lives. The three sacred locations we've discussed today, your entrance, your bedroom, and your workplace, form a triangle of spiritual defense that can transform your entire living experience. But remember, time is important here. Saint Benedict's feast day on July 11th is approaching, and this is when the spiritual realm pays special attention to those who honor this great spiritual warrior. Don't let this opportunity pass by. Don't tell yourself you'll do it next month or next year. The attacks you're experiencing right now, the unexplained difficulties you've been facing, the sense that something isn't quite right in your spiritual atmosphere, these need attention now. Get your Saint Benedict medals properly blessed by a priest. Place them in these three locations with faith and prayer. Create the spiritual fortress that Padre Pio knew was possible for every believing family. You deserve to live in peace. Your family deserves protection. Your work deserves to be free from spiritual interference. If this message has touched your heart, if you feel called to take this step of faith, I want you to write in the comments, Saint Benedict, pray for us. Your declaration of faith not only helps this message reach more people who need to hear it, but it connects you with a community of believers who understand the reality of spiritual warfare and the power of sacramental protection. Please share this video with 3 people who need this protection in their lives. You might be the answer to someone's prayer, the person God uses to bring them the spiritual breakthrough they've been seeking. May Almighty God bless you and keep you safe under the powerful intercession of St. Benedict, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have you ever felt like your home needed special protection? Have you noticed how some houses seem to carry a different kind of peace, as if they're wrapped in invisible armor? Dear friends, August 11th is no ordinary day. It's the feast of St. Clare of Assisi, a woman whose life was so pure, so devoted, that even today her protection reaches into our homes. And here's something that might surprise you. Padre Pio himself had a deep reverence for St. Clare and often recommended a simple but powerful practice for this sacred day. If you believe in St. Clare's protection over your home, write in the comments, St. Clare, protect my home. Your faith matters, and this simple act connects you to centuries of believers who have experienced her miraculous intercession. Now, I'm going to share something with you that Padre Pio recommended to families seeking protection, something so simple you might be tempted to dismiss it, but so powerful that those who practice it report extraordinary peace in their households. Today, you'll discover exactly what to place on your door on St. Clare's Day, and why this humble saint became one of the most trusted protectors of Christian homes. This isn't just another tradition. It's a spiritual practice that has shielded families from harm, brought peace to troubled households, and opened doors to blessings that many thought were impossible. St. Clare understood something about spiritual warfare that we desperately need to remember today. Your home isn't just where you live, it's your sanctuary, your refuge, and it deserves the protection that only heaven can provide. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal has the power to transform not just your August 11th anis, but your entire relationship with the sacred space you call home. St. Clare of Assisi wasn't born to be a revolutionary, but that's exactly what she became. Born into nobility in 1194, she could have lived a life of comfort and luxury. Instead, at 18, she heard St. Francis preach and knew immediately that her life belonged to God. She literally ran away from home on Palm Sunday, cutting off her beautiful hair as a symbol of her complete surrender. But here's what makes St. Clare extraordinary. She didn't just embrace poverty for herself, she fought for it. When church authorities tried to give her community property and wealth, she refused. She wanted nothing that could distract from pure devotion. This radical trust in God's provision made her a beacon of spiritual protection. When you have nothing to lose, you become fearless in defending what matters. Padre Pio understood this connection intimately. He often said that St. Clare's purity of heart made her prayers particularly powerful for protecting families and homes. She had stripped away everything that could compromise her spiritual authority, making her intercession incredibly effective against evil influences. So what exactly did Padre Pio recommend for St. Clare's Day? He suggested placing a small image or medal of St. Clare on your front door, blessed if possible, while saying a simple prayer asking for her protection over your household. But this isn't about superstition. It's about faith in action. The physical act becomes a declaration that this home belongs under heaven's protection. Think about it this way. When you put a security system sign in your yard, you're announcing that your property is protected. When you place St. Clare's image on your door, you're making a much more powerful statement, that this home is under divine protection. And unlike human security systems, This protection never fails, never has technical difficulties, and never expires. St. Clare became the patron saint of television and electronic communications in 1958, but long before that, she was known for her ability to see spiritual realities. One of her most famous miracles happened when Saracen soldiers were attacking her convent. She was too sick to stand, but she had herself carried to the wall facing the attackers. Holding up the Blessed Sacrament, she prayed, and the soldiers fled in terror. She literally stood between danger and those she loved. This is the same protective power she brings to your home today. When you invoke her intercession, you're asking someone who has actually faced down supernatural and natural threats to stand guard over your family. She knows how to fight battles in the spiritual realm that we can't even see. But there's something else Padre Pio emphasized about St. Clare, her ability to bring clarity to confused situations. Her very name means clear or bright. Families who regularly seek her intercession often report that arguments decrease, misunderstandings clear up faster, and there's simply more peace in their daily interactions. It's as if her presence brings the light of truth into dark corners of family life. The tradition isn't complicated. On August 11th, or really any time you feel your home needs extra protection, take a small image of St. Clare. It could be a holy card, a medal, or even a simple printout of her picture. Hold it in your hands and pray something like this. St. Clare, you who gave up everything to follow Christ, protect this home and all who enter here. Guard us from evil, bring us peace, and help us to live with the same purity of heart that made you so powerful in prayer. Then place it on or near your front door. Some families tape it inside the doorframe, others attach it to a wreath or decoration. The location matters less than the faith behind the action. You're essentially putting your home under her mantle of protection. What makes this practice so effective is that it combines several spiritual principles. First, you're acknowledging that your home needs divine protection. This humility opens the door to grace. Second, you're actively participating in your family's spiritual defense rather than just hoping for the best. Third, you're connecting with a saint who specialized in protection and had a direct relationship with God's power. Padre Pio often reminded people that saints aren't distant figures. There are spiritual family members who want to help us. St. Clare, in particular, seems to have a special love for families trying to create holy homes in a chaotic world. Maybe it's because she understood what it meant to leave everything familiar and trust completely in God's provision. Here's what's beautiful about this tradition. It doesn't require expensive materials or complicated rituals. St. Clare, who chose poverty, responds to simple faith more than elaborate displays. A dollar store holy card, placed with genuine devotion, carries the same spiritual power as an expensive statue, because she looks at the heart, not the price tag. As we prepare to dive deeper into how this protection actually works in daily life, remember that St. Clare's greatest miracle wasn't stopping an army. It was living every single day in complete trust that God would provide and protect. That's the kind of faith she wants to share with your family. Speaking of protection and daily spiritual practices, many families have discovered that combining St. Clare's intercession with the powerful prayer of the Rosary creates an incredible shield around their homes. The Rosary was Padre Pio's greatest weapon against evil, and he often encouraged families to make it a central part of their daily protection routine. That's why we've created something special for families like yours who want to deepen their spiritual defenses. Our ebook, The Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio, Miracles, Protection and Divine Graces, will help you learn to pray the Rosary with greater devotion and depth, discover the miracles and testimonies of those who have experienced its power, understand Padre Pio's most impactful teachings about prayer, and receive a 30-day prayer guide with daily intentions to strengthen your faith, plus access to special prayers for protection, healing, and liberation. The Rosary was Padre Pio's greatest weapon, and today it can be yours too. Don't miss this opportunity to strengthen your spiritual life with material that has already helped thousands of people. To download it, just click the link pinned in the comments. Now let's talk about the prayer that makes this protection truly come alive. St. Clare didn't just live in silence. She was a woman of powerful, specific prayer. When you place her image on your door, it shouldn't be a silent gesture. Your words matter, and St. Clare responds to heartfelt requests for protection. Here's a prayer that incorporates the wisdom Padre Pio shared about approaching St. Clare. Blessed St. Clare, you who chose the narrow path and found it led to incredible spiritual power. I place my home under your protection. Just as you stood fearlessly before enemies with only your faith as a weapon, stand now between my family and any force that would harm us. Bring your clarity to our conversations, your peace to our disagreements, and your purity to our daily choices. Guard our doors, our windows, and our hearts. Let no evil enter here, and let only good come from this place. Through Christ our Lord, Amen. But here's something crucial that many people miss. The preparation matters as much as the prayer. St. Clare lived her entire life preparing for moments when her intercession would be needed. She fasted. She prayed constantly. She kept her heart pure through daily discipline. She understood that spiritual power comes from spiritual preparation. Before you place anything on your door, spend some time preparing your own heart. This isn't about perfection. St. Clare knows we're human and we struggle, but it is about intention. Ask yourself honestly, am I inviting St. Clare's protection while simultaneously allowing things into my home that work against God's will? Are there shows, conversations, habits, or attitudes that contradict the very protection I'm seeking? One family from the Midwest shared how this simple practice changed everything for them. They had been struggling with constant arguing, financial stress, and their teenage son was making dangerous choices. The mother decided to follow this tradition after reading about Padre Pio's devotion to St. Clare. She placed a small medal on their front door and prayed the prayer every morning for a week. Within 2 weeks, their son came home and admitted he had been hanging out with the wrong crowd. He said he kept thinking about how disappointed his family would be, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to change his path. The arguments between the parents decreased dramatically, and unexpected financial help arrived through a promotion the father had given up hoping for. Now you might think this is coincidence, but here's what that family understood. St. Clare's protection isn't magic, it's spiritual authority in action. When you genuinely invite her intercession, she begins working on hearts, circumstances, and spiritual atmospheres in ways we often can't see until the results appear. The object you place on your door becomes a physical reminder of an invisible reality. Every time you see it, you remember that your home is under heaven's protection. Every time guests notice it, it creates an opportunity to share your faith. Every time you leave and return home, you're reminded that this isn't just your house. It's a place where God dwells through your invitation. Some families create beautiful displays. A small wooden plaque with St. Clare's image, perhaps surrounded by olive branches or other symbols of peace. Others keep it simple with just a holy card tucked discreetly into the doorframe. St. Clare doesn't care about aesthetics. She cares about authenticity. Here's something fascinating about St. Clare's miracles. Many of them involved vision and clarity. She could see spiritual realities that others missed. When she gazed at the Blessed Sacrament, she sometimes saw visions of Christ's life. When enemies approached, she could perceive their true intentions. This gift of spiritual sight is part of what she offers to families who seek her protection. Families who regularly invoke St. Clare often report that they begin noticing things they previously missed. A parent suddenly realizes their child is struggling with something specific. A spouse recognizes patterns in their relationship that need attention. A family member gets a clear sense that they should avoid a particular situation or person. This isn't paranoia. It's the gift of spiritual discernment that comes from connecting with someone who saw clearly. The timing of August 11th isn't arbitrary either. In the liturgical calendar, this falls during a period when the Church traditionally focuses on spiritual purification and preparation. It's as if the entire spiritual atmosphere supports this kind of protective prayer during St. Clare's feast day. But here's what Padre Pio emphasized repeatedly: the protection doesn't stop on August 12th. Once you've genuinely placed your home under St. Clare's care, that protection continues as long as you continue to live in a way that welcomes it. The physical reminder on your door helps maintain your awareness of this ongoing spiritual reality. Think of it like a spiritual security system that never needs updating, never malfunctions, and never charges monthly fees. But unlike technological security, this protection works on the level of hearts and souls, not just physical threats. St. Clare's intercession can protect your family from influences that could destroy relationships, lead children astray, or rob your home of peace. The key is consistency. Make it a habit to acknowledge St. Clare's protection regularly. When you leave your house, briefly thank her for watching over it. When you return, acknowledge her faithfulness. When family conflicts arise, ask for her clarity. When you're worried about your children's choices, seek her intercession. She becomes not just a one-time helper, but a constant spiritual ally for your family's well-being. The beautiful thing about St. Clare's protection is that it grows stronger the more you acknowledge it. This isn't a once-a-year ritual that you perform and forget. It's the beginning of a year-round relationship with one of heaven's most powerful protectors of families. Many families discover that after experiencing St. Clare's intercession on August 11th, they naturally want to maintain that connection throughout the year. Some families choose the 11th of every month as a special day to renew their request for her protection. Others incorporate a brief prayer to St. Clare into their daily routine, perhaps when they lock the door at night or when they're leaving for work in the morning. Here's what's remarkable about developing this ongoing relationship. St. Clare seems to specialize in the everyday battles that can make or break a family's peace. She's not just for dramatic emergencies. She's for the Tuesday evening when everyone's tired and irritable and words start getting sharp. She's for the moment when your teenager is deciding whether to go along with friends who might lead them into trouble. She's for those financial worries that keep you awake at 3 a.m., wondering how you'll manage next month's bills. Padre Pio understood this intimate daily aspect of St. Clare's care because he himself relied on the saints for ordinary struggles, not just extraordinary ones. He would often tell families that the saints are like older siblings who have gone ahead to show us the way home. St. Clare, having lived through her own family conflicts when she chose religious life against her parents, knows exactly what it feels like when household harmony is threatened. One of the most powerful aspects of St. Clare's intercession is how she helps families communicate with greater clarity and less defensiveness. Remember, her name means clear or bright, and this clarity extends to family relationships. Families who regularly seek her intercession often find that misunderstandings resolve more quickly, that people are more willing to apologize when they've been wrong, and that conversations happen with less hidden agenda and more genuine care. This makes perfect sense when you consider St. Clare's relationship with St. Francis. Their friendship was built on absolute honesty, mutual respect, and shared commitment to God's will above personal comfort. She learned how to have relationships that were both deeply caring and completely truthful. These are exactly the skills that struggling families need most. The connection between Padre Pio and St. Clare runs deeper than many people realize. Both of them understood that true spiritual power comes from complete surrender to God's will, even when that surrender is costly. Padre Pio bore the physical wounds of Christ and endured decades of misunderstanding from church authorities. St. Clare gave up wealth, family approval, and social status to follow her calling. Neither of them chose the easy path, but both of them gained incredible spiritual authority precisely because of their sacrifices. This shared understanding makes their combined intercession particularly powerful for families facing difficult choices. When parents need wisdom about how much freedom to give a struggling teenager, when spouses are trying to balance career demands with family needs, when adult children are caring for aging parents while raising their own kids, these complex situations require the kind of clarity that comes from people who have actually lived through spiritual battles and emerged victorious. Teaching this devotion to your children creates something beautiful. It gives them a concrete way to think about protecting their future homes. When your daughter grows up knowing that homes can be placed under heavenly protection, she's more likely to make choices about roommates, decorating, and daily habits that support rather than undermine that protection. When your son understands that spiritual authority comes from living with integrity, he's more prepared to be the kind of husband and father who can actually guard his family's well-being. Many families create simple traditions around St. Clare that help children remember her protection. Some families have a small statue of St. Clare in their kitchen and briefly ask for her intercession before family meals. Others teach their children to say a quick prayer to St. Clare when they're worried about something happening at school or with friends. The goal isn't to create complicated religious obligations, but to help children grow up understanding that they're part of a spiritual family that extends beyond just the people living in their house. St. Clare becomes like a spiritual aunt who's always available to help, always trustworthy, and always interested in their well-being. As August 11th approaches each year, these families often spend a few days preparing together. They might read stories about St. Clare's life, talk about areas where their family needs extra protection or clarity, and plan how they want to renew their request for her intercession. Children who grow up with these traditions often continue them in their own homes as adults, creating a legacy of spiritual protection that extends across generations. This is exactly what Padre Pio hoped would happen when he recommended devotion to St. Clare. He wasn't just thinking about solving immediate problems. He was thinking about building spiritual strength that could support families through decades of challenges and changes. The beauty of St. Clare's protection is that it adapts to whatever your family needs. Young families might focus on protection for small children and wisdom for parenting decisions. Families with teenagers might emphasize clarity in communication and protection from harmful influences. Empty nesters might seek St. Clare's intercession for adult children making major life choices and for maintaining strong family bonds across distances. As we reach the end of our time together today, I want you to remember something powerful. Your home is more than just where you sleep and eat. It's the foundation where your family's faith either grows stronger or gradually weakens. It's where your children learn what it means to trust God and where you model what it looks like to live under heaven's protection. St. Clare understood that our physical spaces matter in our spiritual journey. She transformed a simple convent into a place where God's presence was so real that enemies fled in terror. You have that same opportunity with your home. When you place her image on your door and invite her protection, you're not just performing a religious ritual, you're making a statement about who has authority over your family's well-being. Padre Pio lived his entire life knowing that we're never alone in our struggles. The saints are real, their prayers are powerful, and their desire to help us is genuine. St. Clare is waiting to be invited into your family's daily life, ready to bring the same clarity and protection that made her such a formidable force against evil in her own time. If these truths have touched your heart today, write "Thank you, St. Clare" in the comments. Your gratitude helps this message reach families who desperately need to know that their homes can be sanctuaries of peace in a chaotic world. Before you go, I want to share something from my heart. This channel exists because we believe that every family deserves to know about the incredible spiritual resources available to them. Messages like today's about St. Clare's protection have the power to transform homes and strengthen faith. But they can only reach people if we work together as a community. Your support means everything to this mission. When you hit that like button, you're telling others that this message matters. When you share this video, you're potentially placing St. Clare's protection over families who have never heard her name. When you subscribe and become a member of our channel, you're joining a spiritual family committed to spreading the wisdom of saints like Padre Pio and St. Clare. We're not just creating content, we're building a community of faithful families who support each other in living out these beautiful traditions. Your participation makes you part of something much bigger than entertainment. You're helping preserve and share spiritual treasures that can change lives for generations. Thank you for being part of this mission. Together, we're bringing heaven's protection to homes everywhere. There's something else about St. Clare's protection that Padre Pio often emphasized, and it's crucial for understanding why this practice is so effective. St. Clare didn't just pray for protection, she lived in a way that made her prayers incredibly powerful. Her entire life was a preparation for the moments when her intercession would be needed most. This teaches us something vital about how spiritual protection actually works. It's not enough to simply ask for help and then continue living in ways that contradict what we're praying for. When you invite St. Clare's protection over your home, you're also accepting an invitation to live with greater purity of intention, just as she did. What does this look like in practical terms? It means being more intentional about what you allow into your home through television, internet, music, and conversations. St. Clare gave up worldly entertainment not because it was evil, but because she wanted nothing to compete with her focus on God. You don't have to become a monk or nun, but you can ask yourself, does this show, this music, this conversation support the kind of peaceful, holy atmosphere I'm asking St. Clare to protect? It also means being more conscious of how you treat family members. St. Clare was known for her extraordinary kindness and patience, even when dealing with difficult people. If you're asking for her intercession to bring peace to your home, she might also be working on your own heart to help you become a person who contributes to that peace rather than disrupting it. Many families discover that St. Clare's protection becomes a catalyst for positive changes they had been putting off. Maybe it's finally having that honest conversation with a family member. Maybe it's setting healthier boundaries with relatives who bring drama. Maybe it's being more generous with forgiveness when someone in the household makes mistakes. Here's something beautiful that happens. When you begin living in alignment with the protection you're seeking, that protection becomes more tangible and more effective. It's like the difference between asking a friend for help while continuing to ignore their advice versus asking for help and then actually implementing their suggestions. St. Clare responds more powerfully to families who are genuinely trying to create homes worthy of heaven's protection. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. St. Clare herself faced moments of doubt, family opposition, and physical suffering. She understands human weakness. But she also knows the difference between people who are genuinely trying to grow in holiness and people who want spiritual benefits without spiritual effort. Padre Pio often reminded people that the saints are not distant figures who occasionally help us. They're active partners in our spiritual journey. When you develop a real relationship with St. Clare, you start noticing her guidance in small daily decisions. You might feel prompted to check on a neighbor, to have a difficult conversation with kindness instead of anger, or to choose forgiveness when resentment would be easier. One of the most powerful aspects of St. Clare's intercession is how she helps families recognize and resist spiritual attacks before they escalate. Every family faces periods when everything seems to go wrong at once. Financial problems, health issues, relationship conflicts, and work stress all hitting simultaneously. These aren't always just coincidences. Sometimes they're coordinated spiritual attacks designed to overwhelm and discourage faithful families. St. Clare, who literally faced down armed enemies through prayer, knows how to recognize and counter these attacks. Families under her protection often report that they develop better spiritual discernment. They start noticing patterns, how certain influences consistently bring division, how specific situations repeatedly trigger family conflicts, how particular relationships always seem to drain their peace. With this awareness comes the ability to respond spiritually rather than just emotionally. Instead of getting caught up in the drama, they step back and ask St. Clare for wisdom and protection. They pray before having difficult conversations. They seek her intercession before making major decisions. They ask for her clarity when situations seem confusing or overwhelming. This is the mature spiritual life that Padre Pio wanted for every Catholic family, not just going through religious motions, but developing real spiritual skills that help navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. St. Clare's protection becomes the foundation for this growth, providing the peace and clarity necessary for spiritual maturity to develop. When August 11th arrives, you'll be ready not just to perform a ritual, but to deepen a relationship that can transform your family's entire spiritual journey. Have you ever felt your heart shatter into 1,000 pieces watching your child turn their back on God? Picture this. It's Sunday morning and you're getting ready for Mass. You call out to your son, your daughter, hoping they'll join you like they used to when they were little. But instead of the eager footsteps you once heard, there's only silence, maybe even a door slamming shut. Maybe words that cut deeper than any knife. I don't believe in that anymore, Mom. That moment when you realize the child you raised with prayers, with bedtime stories about Jesus, with Sunday school and Christmas pageants. That same child now looks at you like your faith is something embarrassing, something old-fashioned, something they've outgrown. You stand there, car keys in your hand, wondering where you went wrong. Was it something you said? Something you didn't say? Was it the friends they're hanging out with, the shows they're watching, the world that seems to be pulling them further and further away from everything you hold sacred? Here's what most parents don't know. Padre Pio saw this coming. The saint who bore the wounds of Christ, who spent endless hours in the confessional listening to the secrets of souls, who could see straight into people's hearts. He knew this would happen. He witnessed firsthand the anguish of Christian parents watching their children drift away from faith. And he didn't just offer comfort, he gave them a battle plan. Don't wait, Padre Pio would tell these heartbroken mothers and fathers. Don't hope it's just a phase. Don't assume they'll come back on their own. Act immediately, because every day you wait, the enemy grows stronger. You see, Padre Pio understood something that many of us miss. There's a spiritual war happening for the souls of our children. It's not just teenage rebellion. It's not just the culture. There are real spiritual forces working to pull our kids away from God. And if we don't fight back with the right weapons, we might lose them forever. If you have a child who has walked away from church, who rolls their eyes when you mention prayer, who seems completely indifferent to faith, I need you to write in the comments, Padre Pio, help my family. Because today, you're going to discover the exact steps this holy man gave to parents just like you. Steps that have brought countless children back to God. This isn't about guilt or blame. This isn't about forcing anyone to believe. This is about love in action. This is about using the spiritual tools that Padre Pio himself witnessed, changing lives, restoring families, and saving souls. What you do in the next 24 hours could determine your child's spiritual destiny. Padre Pio made that clear to every parent who sought his help, So stay with me, because by the end of this message, you'll know exactly what to do. And more importantly, you'll have the courage to do it. The clock is ticking. Your child's soul is at stake, and Padre Pio is about to show you the way forward. Let me share something that might shock you. We're living through the greatest exodus of young people from faith in human history. Studies show that nearly 70% of young Christians will abandon their faith by the time they reach adulthood. But this isn't just numbers on a page. These are our children, our grandchildren, the next generation slipping through our fingers like sand. Padre Pio witnessed this spiritual hemorrhaging decades ago, long before social media, long before the cultural shifts we see today. Day after day, in that small confessional in San Giovanni Rotondo, he listened to the broken hearts of parents. Mothers who wept because their sons mocked the crucifix. Fathers who couldn't understand how their daughters, raised in Catholic homes, now lived as if God didn't exist. But here's what made Padre Pio different. He saw beyond the surface. While other spiritual directors might offer simple comfort or suggest patience, Padre Pio recognized the deeper reality. He understood that when a child abandons faith, it's rarely a rational decision. It's the result of a spiritual battle that most parents don't even realize is happening. The enemy, Padre Pio would say, doesn't announce his presence with thunder and lightning. He whispers, he suggests. He makes sin look appealing and faith look boring. He targets the young because their souls are still forming, still vulnerable. Watch for these signs that Padre Pio identified as indicators of spiritual attack. Your child becomes unusually irritable when faith is mentioned. Not just disinterested, but actually agitated, angry. There's a sudden change in friends, especially toward those who mock religion or embrace destructive behaviors. Sleep patterns shift dramatically. They stay up all night, sleep all day, as if avoiding the peace that comes with natural rhythms. They develop an unexplained fascination with dark themes, violent media, or occult imagery. Physical symptoms appear without medical cause: chronic fatigue, persistent headaches, or a constant state of restlessness. Most importantly, you notice a change in their eyes. Padre Pio always looked at the eyes. The eyes, he said, are the windows of the soul. When darkness enters, you can see it there first. Now, I need you to understand something crucial. This isn't your fault. The guilt you're carrying, the endless nights wondering what you did wrong, the self-blame that eats at you. Padre Pio addressed this directly. Good parents, he would say, often raise children who still choose darkness. This doesn't make you a failure. It makes you a soldier in a war you didn't start. But here's where many parents make a fatal mistake. They try to fight a spiritual battle with earthly weapons. They argue, they lecture, they threaten to take away phones or cars. They beg, they plead, they reason. And with every failed attempt, they become more desperate, more frustrated, and their children grow more resistant. Padre Pio observed this pattern countless times. He watched good, loving parents exhaust themselves trying to force faith back into their children's hearts, and he would stop them with these words: "You cannot argue someone back to God. You cannot guilt them into faith. You cannot force them to love Christ, but you can wage spiritual warfare on their behalf." This is the moment of truth that changes everything. When you realize that your child's spiritual crisis isn't really about you, isn't really about them, but about a cosmic battle between good and evil, everything shifts. Your strategy changes, your weapons change, your hope returns. Because Padre Pio didn't just diagnose the problem, he provided the solution. 7 specific actions that he witnessed transforming families, bringing children back from the brink of spiritual destruction, restoring faith where it seemed impossible. Now comes the moment you've been waiting for. These aren't suggestions. These aren't gentle recommendations. These are the 7 spiritual weapons that Padre Pio gave to desperate parents. Weapons that have been tested in the fires of real family crises and proven effective time and again. But before we begin, I need you to understand something. These actions require faith in action, not just belief in theory. They demand sacrifice, not just sympathy. They call for spiritual warfare, not just wishful thinking. Are you ready to fight for your child's soul? Padre Pio was blunt about this. If you're not willing to suffer for your child's salvation, don't expect miracles. This isn't about dramatic gestures or public displays. This is about offering your pain, your discomfort, your inconvenience as a spiritual payment for your child's freedom. Start with fasting. Choose one day a week and offer your hunger to God specifically for your child's conversion. When your stomach growls, remember that you're breaking spiritual chains. When you feel weak, know that your child is being strengthened spiritually. Offer your physical ailments. That headache, that back pain, that arthritis that flares up, instead of just enduring it, transform it into prayer. Say, Jesus, I offer this suffering for my child's soul. Padre Pio witnessed mothers whose sacrificial love literally pulled their children back from spiritual death. Maria from Texas did this for 3 years. Every Friday, she fasted and offered her chronic joint pain for her son David, who had fallen into drug addiction and completely rejected faith. On a Friday in December, David called her crying, saying he felt an unexplainable urge to go to church. He's now a youth minister. The connection between her sacrifice and his conversion was undeniable. Before we continue with the next 6 actions, I want to share something special with you. Many parents like you have asked for a deeper understanding of Padre Pio's spiritual wisdom, something they can return to again and again when the battle gets difficult. That's why we've created the ebook, The Spiritual Secrets of St. Padre Pio. This book contains powerful prayers, reflections based on his teachings, and practical advice to strengthen your spirituality during these challenging times. The link is pinned in the comments below. This resource can be a companion as you implement these 7 actions we're discussing today. It's designed specifically for parents walking this difficult journey, offering hope and concrete steps for spiritual victory. Padre Pio had absolute confidence in Mary's power over lost souls. He would tell parents, place your child in Mary's hands. She's never lost a soul entrusted to her care. Here's the specific prayer Padre Pio recommended. Mary, Mother of God, I place my child completely in your immaculate heart. Where I have failed, succeed. Where I am powerless, intervene. Wrap my child in your maternal love and lead them back to your Son. I trust you completely with their soul. Say this prayer every morning and every night. Write your child's name on a piece of paper and place it under a statue or image of Mary. This isn't superstition. This is sacramental faith. You're creating a spiritual connection between your child and the Mother of God. Teresa from Ireland did this for her daughter, who had joined a cult-like group that forbade contact with family. For 2 years, Teresa faithfully recited this consecration. One morning, her daughter appeared at her door, saying she had a dream of a beautiful woman who told her to come home. That woman, she described, looked exactly like the statue of Mary in Teresa's living room. Padre Pio understood the power of blessed objects in ways that many modern Catholics have forgotten. These aren't magical talismans, they're conduits of grace that work through faith and God's mercy. Holy water is your first weapon. Sprinkle it in your child's room when they're not there. Put a few drops in their drinking water. This isn't about trickery, it's about blessing them in ways they can't resist or reject. Get a St. Benedict medal and place it in their car, their backpack, or sewn into their clothing. This medal has specific power against evil influences. A scapular hidden in their dresser drawer creates a spiritual shield around them. Blessed salt scattered around your home creates a barrier against negative spiritual influences. Oil blessed by a priest can be used to make the sign of the cross on their bedroom door. Remember, these work not because of the objects themselves, but because of the faith behind them and God's grace flowing through them. Padre Pio saw countless cases where parents used sacramentals with deep faith and witnessed immediate changes in their children's behavior and spiritual openness. The Rosary, Padre Pio said, is the chain that binds the devil, but he specifically mentioned the power of tears shed during prayer. When you pray the Rosary for your child with genuine sorrow for their spiritual condition, something powerful happens in the spiritual realm. Pray 1 decade each night, specifically for your child's conversion. As you hold each bead, picture your child's face. Let your heart break for their spiritual condition. Don't be afraid to cry. Those tears are precious to God. The most powerful time to pray this rosary is between 3 and 4 a.m., the hour when Jesus died, the hour when the veil between heaven and earth is thinnest. I know it's difficult, but consider setting your alarm once a week for this holy hour. Catherine from Canada did this every night for her son, who had become involved with a satanic group. After 8 months of tearful rosaries, her son woke her up one night at 3 a.m., saying he felt terrified and needed to pray. He never returned to that group and is now studying for the priesthood. Here's something most Catholics don't know. You can request Mass to be offered for someone who's still alive. Padre Pio called this the nuclear weapon of prayer because nothing is more powerful than the sacrifice of the Mass. Contact your parish priest and request a Mass for your child's conversion. Give a small donation if possible, but many priests will do this for free if you explain your situation. When that Mass is celebrated, your child's name is mentioned at the altar, and the entire sacrifice of Jesus is offered for their soul. If possible, attend that Mass yourself. Bring a photo of your child and place it on the pew beside you. During the consecration, when the host is elevated, whisper your child's name. Padre Pio once told a mother that a single Mass offered with faith for her son's conversion would be more powerful than all her tears and pleading combined. That son, who had been involved in criminal activity, turned his life around within a month of that Mass and became a missionary. This might be the hardest action of all. You must forgive your child completely for the pain they've caused you. The disappointment, the embarrassment, the heartbreak, the sleepless nights, the shattered dreams, all of it must be released. Padre Pio was clear. God cannot hear the prayer of a resentful heart. As long as you harbor hurt, anger, or bitterness toward your child, your prayers are blocked. This doesn't mean you approve of their choices or pretend their behavior doesn't hurt. It means you choose to love them despite their rebellion. Say these words out loud. I forgive you completely. I release all hurt and resentment. I choose to love you as God loves you, unconditionally. Repeat this until you feel the weight lift from your heart. Linda from Florida struggled with this for months. Her son had stolen money from her and said terrible things about her faith. But when she finally found the strength to forgive him completely, within days he called to apologize and asked to come home for Christmas. That Christmas, he attended Mass with her for the first time in 5 years. Finally, Padre Pio advised parents to stop arguing about faith and start demonstrating it. Your child has heard all your words. Now they need to see your life transformed by grace. Live with such peace, such joy, such unshakable faith that they can't help but notice. When they attack your beliefs, respond with gentleness. When they mock your practices, continue them with dignity. When they test your patience, show them the love of Christ. Pray for them constantly, but stop preaching to them. Love them extravagantly, but stop lecturing them. Trust God completely, but stop trying to control the outcome. This silent witness often speaks louder than any sermon. Your transformed life becomes a living prayer that draws them back to the source of your peace. These 7 actions aren't theoretical. They've been tested in the crucible of real family pain and have produced miraculous results. Let me share with you 2 cases that demonstrate the power of Padre Pio's methods when applied with unwavering faith. Margaret Thompson, a single mother from Ohio, watched her 19-year-old son, James, spiral into heroin addiction. He dropped out of college, stole from his own family, and completely rejected the faith that had once been the center of their home. For 2 years, James lived on the streets, in and out of rehab centers, his eyes hollow and his soul seemingly beyond reach. Margaret discovered Padre Pio's 7 actions through a prayer group at her parish. Despite her exhaustion and heartbreak, she began implementing every single one. She fasted every Wednesday, offering her hunger pangs for James's freedom. She consecrated him to Mary every morning and night. She placed blessed medals in his old room and sprinkled holy water wherever he had been. The most difficult part was the 3 a.m. Rosary. Setting her alarm for the holy hour, Margaret would kneel in her living room, holding James's baby photo, praying through tears that sometimes made it impossible to speak the words. She had 3 masses said for his conversion. She forgave him for the money he'd stolen, the lies he'd told, the Christmas when he didn't come home. 18 months into this spiritual battle, Margaret received a call at 4:30 in the morning. But this time, it wasn't the police or a hospital. It was James, sobbing. "Mom," he said, "I need to come home. I had the strangest dream. There was a monk with wounds on his hands, and he told me that my mother's prayers were keeping me alive. He said I needed to stop running from love." That was 3 years ago. Today, James is clean, works as a counselor for addiction recovery, and attends Mass with his mother every Sunday. He keeps a picture of Padre Pio on his nightstand and credits the saint with saving his life through his mother's faithful prayers. Dr. Elena Rossini, a psychiatrist from Rome, documented her own family's miracle for a Catholic medical journal. Her daughter Sophia, raised in a devout household, had completely abandoned faith by age 16. Sophia became involved with a group that practiced various forms of occultism. Her personality changed dramatically, and she began experiencing what could only be described as supernatural disturbances. Elena, initially skeptical of anything beyond medical intervention, was referred to Padre Pio's methods by an elderly priest. Desperate after 2 years of failed therapy and psychiatric treatment, she decided to try the spiritual approach alongside medical care. Elena followed all 7 actions precisely. She documented the timeline. Week 3, Sophia's nightmares decreased. Week 8, Sophia asked her mother why she seemed so peaceful despite everything. Week 12, Sophia found a St. Benedict medal in her backpack and, instead of throwing it away, kept it. Week 20, Sophia attended Christmas Mass for the first time in 4 years, claiming she felt drawn to go. By month 10, Sophia had completely severed ties with the occult group and asked to go to confession. She's now studying to become a nun. Elena published this case study titled Spiritual Intervention in Adolescent Crisis, a clinical perspective, and now counsels other families using both psychological and spiritual approaches. What Margaret and Eleanor both discovered is that these 7 actions work together as a complete system. It wasn't just one prayer or one action that produced the miracle. It was the consistency, the combination, and the unwavering faith despite apparent lack of progress. Both mothers noticed the same progression. First, their own peace increased, even while their children's situations seemed to worsen. Second, small signs appeared that others might dismiss as coincidence. Third, a breakthrough moment occurred that was clearly supernatural in nature. Finally, the healing process, while miraculous, still required time and patience to fully unfold. The most crucial element both mothers emphasize is this: you cannot do these actions halfway. You cannot skip the difficult ones like 3 a.m. prayers or forgiveness. You cannot apply them sporadically when you feel like it. This is spiritual warfare, and it requires total commitment. The question every parent asks is, how long will this take? Based on documented cases, most parents see initial signs within 3 to 6 months, significant breakthroughs within 12-18 months, and complete transformation within 2 to 3 years. However, some cases show dramatic changes within weeks, while others require longer periods of faithful persistence. What's crucial to understand is that the timeline depends not on God's willingness to help, but on the spiritual battles being fought for your child's soul. The deeper they've fallen, the more intense the warfare, the longer the recovery. But no case is hopeless when these methods are applied with genuine faith and persistence. Remember Margaret's words, "I would have done this for 20 years if necessary." When you truly understand that your child's eternal soul is at stake, 18 months of sacrifice seems like nothing. But what if you don't start today? What if you tell yourself you'll begin next week, next month, when things calm down a bit? Let me share something that will shake you to your core. Padre Pio's most urgent warning was about the devastating cost of waiting. Every day a parent delays, Padre Pio said, the enemy claims more territory in that child's soul. What could be healed in months with immediate action might take years if you wait. And some souls, if parents wait too long, may be lost forever. This isn't meant to frighten you, but to awaken you to a spiritual reality. While you're wondering if your child's rebellion is just a phase, darker forces are working tirelessly to make their rejection of faith permanent. While you're hoping time will heal the wound is actually growing deeper, more infected, more dangerous. Consider the story of Patricia from Colorado. Her son Michael stopped attending church at age 17, started hanging around with a rough crowd, and gradually descended into dangerous behaviors. Patricia, a woman of faith, believed that love and patience would eventually bring him back. "I'll give him space," she told herself. "Pushing will only drive him further away." For 5 years, Patricia waited. She prayed occasionally, but she didn't fight. She watched as Michael got arrested, lost jobs, destroyed relationships, and sank deeper into a lifestyle that was killing him slowly. By the time she discovered Padre Pio's methods and began applying them, Michael was 22, addicted to multiple substances, and so hardened against anything spiritual that her efforts seemed to bounce off him like arrows off armor. It took Patricia 4 years of intensive spiritual warfare to see the breakthrough that might have come in months if she had started when Michael first turned away. 4 additional years of watching her son suffer, 4 years of missed opportunities, 4 years of deeper spiritual damage that required longer healing. Patricia's story is repeated in countless homes. The well-meaning parent who thinks time and space and understanding will somehow magically restore their child's faith, while the enemy uses that very time to build higher walls, deeper trenches, stronger chains. Padre Pio understood that spiritual battles have windows of opportunity. The soul that has been away from God for 6 months is in a very different condition than the soul that has been away for 6 years. The longer the separation, the more comfortable the child becomes in their rebellion, the more justified they feel in their rejection, the more normal their faithless life becomes. Think of it like a physical infection. A cut that is treated immediately heals quickly with minimal intervention, but a cut that is ignored becomes infected, then severely infected, then gangrenous. What could have been healed with simple cleaning and a bandage now requires surgery, antibiotics, and intensive care. Your child's spiritual condition works the same way. The sooner you intervene with the right spiritual weapons, the faster and more complete the healing. Wait too long, and you're not just fighting their current rebellion. You're fighting years of accumulated spiritual damage, hardened habits, entrenched thought patterns, and the comfortable identity they've built around their rejection of faith. This is why Padre Pio's first word to every parent was immediately. Now, before you close this video, before you return to your daily routine, before you let another day pass in fear and uncertainty, let me give you the most powerful weapon Padre Pio left for parents like you. This is the prayer he personally dictated to countless mothers and fathers, the prayer that has moved heaven itself to intervene in desperate family situations. Pray this with me now, and then pray it every day until your child comes home. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God, I come before you with a heart broken but not without hope. You who called the lost sheep back to the fold, you who wept over Jerusalem, you who forgave from the cross, hear my cry for my child who has wandered far from your love. Padre Pio, Saint of impossible cases, you who bore the wounds of Christ and saw into the depths of souls, intercede for my child this very moment. Take my tears, my sacrifices, my sleepless nights, and offer them to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Blessed Mother Mary, you who never lost a soul entrusted to your care, I place my child completely in your immaculate heart. Where I have failed as a parent, succeed as our mother. Where I am powerless, let your maternal love prevail. Break every chain that binds my child to darkness. Shatter every lie the enemy has whispered into their heart. Holy Spirit, breathe life into my child's soul again. Let them feel your presence in ways they cannot deny or ignore. Send your angels to guard them, guide them, and draw them back to the Father's house. I offer you my pain, my disappointment, my shattered dreams. Transform them into graces for my child's conversion. I forgive them completely. I release them into your hands. I trust in your perfect timing and your infinite mercy. Let this not be another day of delay, but the beginning of their journey home. In the mighty name of Jesus, through the intercession of Padre Pio and the Blessed Virgin Mary, I believe, I hope, I surrender. Amen. Listen to me carefully. You now have everything you need. 7 actions that have brought thousands of children back to God. A prayer that connects you directly to heaven's power. The testimony of parents who have walked this road and emerged victorious. But knowledge without action is worthless. Hope without works is dead. Faith without deeds is empty. Tonight, choose your fasting day. Tonight, write your child's name and place it under your statue of Mary. Tonight, get blessed salt for your home. Tonight, set your alarm for the holy hour. Tonight, forgive completely. Tonight, begin your silent witness. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait for the right moment. Your child's soul hangs in the balance, and every moment of delay gives the enemy more time to destroy what God wants to restore. Margaret fought for 18 months and got her son back from heroin addiction. Elena fought for 10 months and saw her daughter leave occultism for the convent. How long are you willing to fight for your child's eternal destiny? You are not alone in this battle. Thousands of parents around the world are praying these same prayers, making these same sacrifices, fighting these same spiritual wars. Subscribe to this channel and become part of this community of warrior parents who refuse to give up on their children. If this message has given you hope, if these words have stirred your heart to action, don't keep this light to yourself. Share this video with 3 parents who need to hear this truth. Send it to that mother crying herself to sleep. Send it to that father who feels like he's failed. Send it to that grandmother who's been praying alone. The battle for your child's soul begins today. Padre Pio is interceding for you. Mary is waiting to receive your child into her heart. Jesus himself is preparing the celebration for their return. Go now and fight for your child like their eternal life depends on it, because it does.